let's say we want to do something like we're asked to simplify an expression like the square root of 8 plus 3 times the square root of 32. What's the best we can do here? Well, let's try to simplify each of these separately as best as we can. First of all, 32 is not a perfect square, neither is 8. But what we can do is we can write 8 as 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 2 squared times 2, plus 3. Well, 32, let's see, 16, 8, 4, 2, so this is going to be 2 to the 5th. That's actually not the best way to write that here. What I might want to do is I might want to write this as 4 squared times 2. So now I can write this as follows, just using my rule. And then I get 2 root 2 plus 3 times 4 root 2. And now look, I have 2 times root 2 plus 12 times root 2. I have the same thing here. What I can do is I can just distribute. I can pull the root 2 out of both, and I get 14 root 2. Now, you might object to something I said before. I said, hey, 2 to the 5th wasn't the best way to write it. I wrote it as 4 squared times 2. Just to take that part, if I had written it like this, what would have happened? I would have gotten the exact same thing. 2 times 2 times root 2, which is 4 root 2, which is how I got that right there. So even if you hadn't thought to take 2 to the 5th and write it as 4 squared times 2, just keeping it in terms of 2's, powers of 2, as long as I split it up as follows, 2 squared and another 2 squared, I'm perfectly fine. I get to the same answer at the end, because that ends up here and the rest would be the same. Lots of ways to get to the exact same result.